Hey everybody, how's it going? Today, let's take a detailed look at the all-new 2014 Cadillac ELR. And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the ELR. We'll power it up, show the engine, take it on a test drive, and show you a bunch of the unique aspects of the interior as well as exterior. And a special shout out goes out to Flo Cadillac of Winston-Salem, North Carolina for allowing me to come out and film the all-new 2014 Cadillac ELR. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. As you can see, the ELR also comes standard with remote start. While the ELR is locked as long as you have the key fob on you, all you have to do is just reach into the touchpad behind the handle, press it, and it automatically unlocks the vehicle. The exterior color is known as Black Raven, featuring the premium Kona Brown semi-aniline leather interior with jet black accenting. Also, like the rest of the newer Cadillac lineup, it also features a standard remote push-button ignition system. All you have to do to start is just put your foot on the brake and hit the dash mounted button to go. Simple as that. The ELR features standard electric assist, variable ratio, rack and pinion power steering, and a 3-spoke thick bolstered leather-wrapped steering wheel with heavy grips up top, and black piano veneer coming across the spokes and multifunction controls. Chrome trim also wraps around the spokes and trails around the back of the airbag cover, whereas it's made of a combination of leather as well as microfiber suede. As far as the gearbox, the standard and only transmission available, similar to the Volt, is a 1-speed direct drive automatic fed through a traditional gear selector composed of polished aluminum as well as stitched leather, delivering instant smooth power to the front wheels with more fluidity than a traditional geared automatic could ever achieve. Not to mention 4 driver selectable modes including Tour, Sport, Mountain, and Hold, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the video. There's also a standard backup camera with driver adjustable guidance lines. In addition to standard parking sensors, it also features all of the latest safety tech from adaptive cruise, forward collision warning, lane departure warning, and rear crosspath detection. The seats also feature a haptic feedback mechanism that vibrates either side of the cushion depending on if somebody's coming at you from the rear right side or rear left side. Or if your back is straight up against something, both sides will vibrate. And so, we're going to flip on the automatic LED headlamps, as well as the hazards. Of course, both windows are fully automatic, with electronic door actuators rather than traditional handles. So let's go ahead and check out the exterior, shall we? The vehicle will also chime a few times, letting you know it's lost detection of the proximity key fob. Over the past decade, one of the hottest automotive segments has been the implementation of hybrid electric technology, alternative means to your traditional gas-fed powertrain. Just about every manufacturer out there has developed their own adaptation, whether it's a pure hybrid, series hybrid, or all-electric. Especially over the past 5 years, the technology has become widely available, with entry models from makers like Toyota and Ford to top-of-the-line luxury models from BMW and Tesla. Even supercars such as the Porsche 918 Spyder and McLaren P1 use forms of hybrid technology. Cadillac's new ELR has been designed and directed towards the luxury market, providing an upscale and downright seductive alternative to your traditional hybrid, combining top-grade build quality, the latest in media and entertainment, and one of the most stylish coupes to come out of GM's design studios. The original concept that would later become the ELR was first unveiled in 2009 was known as the Converge. Due to the financial hardships of the automotive industry at the time, the project would be put on hold for a few years. Of course, until now, when the 2014 ELR made its official production debut at the 2013 Detroit Auto Show. While it shares its core powertrain with the Chevrolet Volt, the ELR couldn't be any more different. Cadillac even claims that 80% of the vehicle is in fact its own unique design. These changes not only enhance its looks, but its premium feel, handling, and performance. After all, it's what you'd expect, considering a Volt is roughly half the cost of a standard ELR. So what makes it different underneath? The ELR shares the same powertrain and front-wheel drive layout as the Volt, although it does put out more power thanks to software remapping. It also rides on the same Delta II platform as the Volt, a chassis that's also shared with other GM models like the Chevrolet Cruze and Buick Verano. The real difference is in the suspension, where GM employs its hyper strut setup up front. This setup that features improved geometry drastically reduces torque steer and camber changes for front-wheel drive cars, keeping more rubber to the pavement, especially in higher horsepower applications. In the rear, it too uses a beam rear suspension, but features a watt linkage, which permits more vertical movement from the beam while lessening outward travel. In other words, a semi-independent suspension that provides good handling profile as well as a cost-effective alternative to a fully independent setup. As far as appearance, the ELR significantly differs from the Volt in two major ways. For starters, it's a proper coupe, while the Volt is a four-door. The second is that while the Volt is a hatchback, the ELR has a regular trunk. Everything else, from the sleek LED headlamps to the combination steel and aluminum body, is the latest evolution of Cadillac's art and science design philosophy. Even the rear of the car hints to the brand's heritage, with tail lamps that end in sharp points as if to pay homage to the massive fins of the 1950s. Foregoing sensuous curves and flowing lines are sharp-edged dynamic creases that gives Cadillac a unique identity. Luckily, the ELR doesn't differ much from the original Converge concept. Even the wheels and interior resemble the original design. Compared to the Volt, the ELR is 8.9 inches longer, 2.3 inches wider, and rides 0.7 inches lower for a hunkered-down, planted look. The sharp rake of the windshield is a result of it sitting 6.3 inches forward of the Volt's windshield position. All in all, the vehicles share no body panels. Aside from the drivetrain, the ELR is a truly unique piece of art. The ELR is known as an extended-range electric vehicle. Therefore, its default setting is electric, but when depleted, a combustion engine kicks in to provide the extra juice. It features GM's Voltec technology that's also found in the Volt, combining a naturally aspirated 86 horsepower version of the Chevy Cruze's 1.4-liter four-cylinder and a 288-cell, 16.5 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack that puts out an equivalent of 157 horsepower. While the same battery found in the Volt, it uses more of the capacity overall, all routed through an AC permanent magnet synchronous electric drive motor, which provides the final power to turn the wheels, itself putting out 181 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. The total series produces up to 207 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, a considerable bump considering the Volt produces 149 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. The battery pack is a 435-pound T-shaped member that's positioned as low as possible along the center line of the vehicle. The battery is divided into two sections, one for EV and one for ER or extended range driving. These can vary depending on the drive mode that you're in, all of which we'll highlight in just a bit. I mentioned earlier that the ELR is a series hybrid, meaning that the traditional combustion engine does not directly power the front wheels. In other words, it works to provide energy that's sent through an electric motor to propel the car, so the speed or RPMs that the engine is running at has nothing to do with how fast the car is going. It works independently for the sole purpose of developing the extra electrical energy via a special generator. While in EV mode, the battery is sending the energy through a 154 kilowatt primary drive motor, which in turn provides the propulsion for the wheels through a planetary gear set. This gear set, in conjunction with the direct drive automatic, provides the ratios necessary to achieve a top speed of 107 miles an hour while in EV mode. These performance numbers translate to 0 to 60 times of 9 seconds in EV mode, but that drops as low as 8.1 seconds while in extended range mode. Quarter mile times are as low as 16.5 seconds at 87 miles an hour in ER mode, but EV mode is only slightly slower. It actually feels quicker though, thanks to the instant availability of torque with no drivetrain lag. As far as fuel economy, with a 9.3 gallon tank and required premium fuel, the EPA rates the gas engine between 32 city and 38 on the highway. But combined with the electric power, it jumps to a miles per gallon equivalent of 90 miles to a gallon. The total driving range is approximately 345, just a little bit less than the Volt. It's able to run in full EV mode for approximately 35 miles. While that may seem a little bit less than the Volt, the ELR is a larger car, with wider tires and 300 extra pounds of weight. Coefficient of drag also increases slightly. You can charge the ELR via a standard 120-volt household outlet in about 15 hours, but if you upgrade to a 240-volt outlet, this significantly decreases the charging time to just 5 hours. A cool trick when the car is plugged in is that the LED indicator strips on the mirrors actually illuminate as charge indicators when plugged in. Now, like I touched on briefly earlier during the transmission portion, there are 4 different driving modes that you can put the ELR in. These include Hold, Sport, Mountain, and Tour. Hold is a new feature which also appeared on the Volt last year. It allows you to force the car into extended range mode, therefore igniting the engine to help facilitate electrical energy to preserve the level of stored energy you currently have at the moment, so you can use it for later, such as saving it for the city if you're doing a lot of highway driving, which tends to deplete the battery faster. With the battery divided, the larger section would be used primarily for EV driving since it stores the most energy, while the smaller portion would be used in extended range driving. Putting the vehicle in mountain mode increases the partition used for ER mode, enhancing the ability to maintain power on steeper grades. It'll also run the engine at a higher RPM to help maintain the charge. Sport mode increases damper firmness, increases throttle response, and artificially stiffens the steering. Tour is the standard mode for best balance between handling and soft ride quality. The ELR's standard wheels consist of 20 by 8.5 inch cast aluminum alloys wrapped in custom Bridgestone Potenza tires that measure 245/40 at each corner. Braking is provided by ventilated 12.6 inch vented discs up front and 12 inch solid discs in the rear. Another really cool thing about the ELR is its regenerative braking system, or regen on demand. It doesn't pull energy from depressing the brakes, but it's activated via paddles located on the back of the steering wheel. By pressing either of them, it actually illuminates the brake lights and begins slowing down the car at a level of 0.2 G, at the same time grabbing energy. In other words, is activated manually. Tesla also uses a form of this on the Model S, but it's activated via the car's electronic settings to activate every time that you release the accelerator pedal. Overall length is 186 inches, with a width of 72.7 inches and a height of 55.9 inches. Total curb weight is around 4,054 pounds. The interior of the ELR is without a doubt one of the most finely crafted interiors from Cadillac to date. Very similar to what you would see in the new CTS, is a rich combination of premium materials from leathers, woods, carbon fibers, and even some aluminum bits. The mixed media used throughout gives the interior a very modern feeling, from the soft touch stitched accented panels across the door with suede microfiber across the top portion to your genuine wood trim can either be had in matte finish or high gloss. Carbon fiber also trails the underside portion, broken up by a slender strip of chrome. All of your electric accessories, including your power windows, power locks, and power mirrors, with 2-person memory and exit function. And the storage pocket down below also houses your trunk and fuel cap release. Like I mentioned briefly earlier, this ELR features the upgraded Kona Brown semi-aniline leather seating. It features a fantastic amount of side bolstering up top and down below, with power thigh adjustment as well as side bolstering adjustment, giving a little bit more of a sporty feel. These seats are also available as an option a part of the new 2014 CTS and have a fantastic amount of attention to detail. Power adjustments in the back allow you to get into the back seat a little bit easier, while the new Cadillac Heritage badging also accents each of the 4 seats, a similar theme with all of the new age Cadillacs. The seat belts and the headrests are also adjustable. As you continue down below, Cadillac aluminum door sill entry guards, and a full power tilt telescoping heated steering wheel. The dash itself is also a great example of the mixed media found throughout, from soft leathers and vinyl padding to the suede microfiber trim up top. You also have the high gloss wood veneers and the carbon fiber trim coming across the center line, all nicely finished off with a suede microfiber headliner. So we're going to shut her up. Nice solid panels. first things you'll notice about the instrumentation cluster of the ELR is that it's an LCD TFT reconfigurable display with a three-dimensional layout. To the left and right hand side you have LED indicators for both the vehicle's battery charge as well as the vehicle fuel. Another cool thing about these TFT displays is the fact that they're highly customizable and you can pack a lot of information into it. A lot of manufacturers are starting to go along with this, including the rest of the Cadillac lineup and other manufacturers like Jaguar, Mercedes, and more. Now you can go between the different systems like you would be able to in the Q, such as your radio, telephone, navigation, as well as system information like vehicle fuel, trip computers, and more. You can also change the layout to either bring about some more information or keep it a more simple look. You control this all through the steering wheel through the little directional controller, which I'll show you in just a little bit. You also have all the vehicle's personalizable settings at just the touch of a finger. Now the ELR features a standard 10-speaker Bose premium surround sound system with Bose active noise cancellation. Now this is a very cool system that utilizes a speaker mounted up in the headliner. It detects ambient noise and sends out opposing signals through the vehicle's speakers. These signals work with the vehicle's already great sound deadening to provide an extremely quiet interior overall. All of that multimedia is fed through the Cadillac Q system or Cadillac User Experience, a mobile media navigation telemetrics interface with touchscreen capabilities and haptic feedback touch-sensitive controls toward the bottom of the center console. For an in-depth look at how the Q system works, please click the annotation below or the link in the description box below. I'll take you through all of the various aspects, including how to set up a Bluetooth telephone. Other than that, let's go ahead and cover the surface features of the ELR's Q system as well as the haptic feedback controls down below. Another cool thing about all of the new age Cadillacs is that the center stack is almost completely devoid of buttons. Everything that you see from the radio volume to the climate control is all touch sensitive with a unique mechanism called haptic feedback. What haptic feedback does is that it gives you a little vibration confirmation when you hit the select option. So, if you're adjusting your fan speed for example, or temperature, you'll feel a little vibration letting you know that you made the appropriate contact. The radio volume works via swiping your finger across, and then you can probably just barely hear the haptic feedback. Sounds like a little thud. And of course, just as you'd expect from a high-end Bose audio system, sound quality is superb, with crisp, clean notes. Alcantara lined A-pillars, with little windows up there for better visibility, side curtain airbags, your hands-free Bluetooth microphone, as well as Alcantara wrapped visors with LED illumination, as is the rest of the interior lighting. Your view mirror is auto-dimming, clean, simple design, and is also frameless. In the top stack here, you have 3-position garage home link, some ambient lighting, as well as reading lamps, not to mention the vehicle's OnStar controls with emergency roadside assistance. Now, like I touched on, the Cadillac Q system, just like Chevrolet's MyLink and GMC's IntelliLink system, is smartphone-based, so it means it's all organized in an app-style configuration, and a lot of the functionality and user interface is very similar to what you would see on an iPad or a tablet. So, for example, this main menu has all of your standard apps, they're also customizable, and you can load up custom ones as well. The only thing really different with the Q system and the ELR is your little eco screen, which shows the power transfer between the battery and the gasoline engine throughout the vehicle as you go down the road. Charging settings, as well as energy usage. As we continue down the center console, it's a nice clean layout, little storage tray and a power outlet, as well as a power actuated cover that covers up your cup holders. Very futuristic. The cup holders are also nicely conveniently located next to the gear selector versus further back, which also extends the glove box to make a little bit more room and makes it easier to reach the drinks for both passengers. The stitched leather blends all the way into the center console, where it wraps around. It has a nice deep well. It also houses an SD card input, 2 USB inputs, as well as your auxiliary input and a power outlet. As far as the steering wheel, on the left-hand side is your cruise control, adaptive cruise setting, heated steering wheel, as well as your telephone and voice commands.
Command, please.
Help.
You can say phone, audio, navigation, weather, or OnStar. To call a number quicker, say call followed by the number, like this. Call 555-1212. To quickly change what is playing on an audio system, say commands like tune to FM 101.1 or play.
Cancel.
Goodbye.
All very simple. Your intermittent wipers off to the far right, and your turn signal, high beam, and lighting controls off to the far left. You also have an electronic parking brake down below. Pull up to activate, and put your foot on the brake, push down to deactivate. So we're going to shut her down. And we're going to check out the back seat. To gain access to the rear seat, there's also a power actuator. First, you just lift up on the seat back, it'll lock in place, then hold this button to slide the entire unit forward. You do have storage pockets on the back of the seat, and the rear is configured in a bucket style fashion. Sporty accents, good bolsters, and a full-length center console. And it is a bit of a smaller back seat. Of course, everything is also wrapped in leather, including the armrest. You have two cup holders in the middle here. Not to mention coat hooks up top, as well as rear illumination. So let's go ahead and check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we? Now open up the easy access trunk of the ELR and you'll find around 9 cubic feet, which is modest, but if you need a little bit of extra storage space for longer items, you can fold either side of the rear seat down. The middle portion is a fixed styling portion of the back seat. If you look in the floor, there's also 2 compartments that house your charging equipment, as well as a little bit of extra storage. The passenger seat also features the same power adjustments that you find on the driver's seat. The glove box actuator, like I showed you earlier, is located up by the Q system. It's also a good size, with a few different tiers and lined in felt. Not to mention LED illumination. While the drivetrain of the ELR isn't revolutionary, it's still a very cool adaptation of the technology. An attractive, luxurious hybrid that makes a visual statement while going down the road. Whether it's justifiable to the general public is another question, but what the ELR is different, and sometimes that's justification enough for someone wanting something unique and unlike anything else. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the all-new 2014 Cadillac ELR. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.